Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? It is a football Friday. I can't wait for this Eagles game on Sunday. The link will be so electric. It's going to be unbelievable. And there is so much to talk about when it comes to this game. Earlier in the week, I discussed how I thought this was going to be a Carson Wentz versus Russell game. I thought this would be a Doug Peterson versus a Pete Carroll type of game. And that's not wrong. Those things are very important when it comes to the outcome of this football game. But the more I sat on it and the more I thought about this game, which was almost every single second of every day leading up to this point, but the more that I thought about it, it's going to come down to the defense. I think the defense is so important in this football game that it will be the difference on if they win or lose. Once again, that doesn't mean the offense isn't important. It doesn't mean Doug Peterson's not important. But what this defense has provided at home this season, it's remarkable. And they're going to have to continue that trend for this team to walk out of the link going to another building later on and to keep the playoff hopes going. Since 2016, this Eagles defense allows 16.1 points per game. That's including the playoffs. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And I know what Russell Wilson can do, and I know what he can do when it comes to getting out of the pocket. But if Fletcher Cox penetrates, if Brandon Graham plays with the type of attitude that he's been playing with, if Malcolm Jenkins is the stud that he was last week, this team can absolutely do it. Cre'von LeBlanc breaking up passes, Avonte Maddox breaking up passes. Rasul Douglas scares me, and I know that DK Metcalf has speed, and I know that Tyler Lockett has been one of Russell Wilson's safety blankets throughout his career. So yeah, you need to worry about that. But if Jim Schwartz goes with the bend, don't break attitude, doesn't allow these players to get over the top, I think that there's something there when it comes to this defense keeping the team alive. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to score 27 points in this football game. It might be a low-scoring affair, and that's why I believe the defense has so much impact on the outcome of this one. By the way, real quick, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. If you are looking to buy tickets and you want money off of those tickets, I can provide that for you. If you use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page, you get $20 off of your tickets. That can go towards parking, can go towards beer or food. It's a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS today. This is a revenge factor when it comes to the Eagles. They remember what happened last time, so many turnovers. That was during the stretch of hideous football for this team where they had no identity. They were lost. They had no emotion. Players didn't even want to play. It seemed their body language looked defeated. That was what was occurring the last time these two teams met up. Since then, it's almost the complete opposite when it comes to these two squads. The Seahawks are backing into the playoffs. They are just as banged up as the Eagles. The Eagles have confidence. Now, they went up against very weak opponents, but that's no one's fault. They did what they needed to do, and when it comes to confidence, who cares? They don't think about that. They just worry about looking good, looking smooth, moving the ball, scoring points. That type of stuff goes a long way when it comes to confidence and guys making plays out there. Dallas Goedert making plays. Rob Davis going up for 50-50 balls. Barnett, are you serious? Greg Ward, come on. Miles Sanders. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It just matters that the plays are being made because psychologically it helps this team when it comes to coming in with swagger. The crowd is going to be insane. There's no team that wants to come to Philadelphia when it comes to a playoff game. It's a scary atmosphere. Now, this Seahawks team has thrived on the road more than they did in their own building, which is very, very odd because they have a loud place over there in Seattle. Without a doubt, that place gets crazy. But so does this one. And no team wants to enter this type of hostile environment because it's going to be ruthless. I thought it was ruthless against the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be 500 times more ruthless than that. Now, I got a couple questions for you guys. Think about this. I just want you to think about it. How do you feel going into this game? Take away the fandom. Take away the I love this Eagles team. I'm a Birds fan. I'm always going to say they will win. Take that away. Do you think that they have a good chance? When you look at the injury report, Nelson Aguilar ruled out. Oh, I'm so scared about that one. Oh, no. Zach Ertz did not practice, but he's questionable. Now, there's some conflicting reports about what's actually going on with this kidney. Listen, he's not going to be able to be the Zach Ertz regardless of if he can go or not. The Eagles love to play these mind games when it comes to giving out information with injury reports. He might have to play with a ton of padding around his ribs. This is how it's going to be. Dallas Goedert is going to have to be Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz will be more like Dallas Goedert. That's just reality. Now, it doesn't hurt if Zach Ertz is out there, but you can't expect him to provide what he has provided all season long if he's going to be playing with this flat jacket on underneath of his uniform because he is so banged up. It's insane. But him being out there, just his presence is going to change how this Seahawks defense plays this team. Miles Sanders, he's going to go. Jalen Mills, he's going to go. Lane Johnson's questionable. I'm sorry, did I say that? Ertz was limited. Ertz was actually limited. He did participate in practice. Lane Johnson was the one that was not participating in practice, but he's questionable. Now, it seems like he is having a rough time. It seems like he can't find a way to get on the field, and that's really odd. You know, if Lane Johnson is not playing, he's hurt. He really can't go because he will do anything to get out on that field. Now, that's a spot that concerns me when it comes to the Eagles offense. The right side of the line, Vitae, Pryor, it's concerning. Lane Johnson's questionable, but it doesn't seem like it's good. It really doesn't. But it's not as if Clowney has been a stud. He's battling a sports hernia. He's been really quiet since everything has gone down with his injury. So that helps the Eagles' right side, but that part concerns me. So this dates back to my question that I asked. How do you feel going into this game? When you line up the matchups, injuries versus injuries, quarterback versus quarterback, the defenses, the head coaches, the D coordinators, who do you give the advantage to? And I'll also throw this in there. Who has more pressure? The Eagles are playing with house money, you could say. The Seattle Seahawks just played a game which could have won them the division. Does that loss change the expectations for the Seattle Seahawks fan base? Now that they lost and they have to go on the road instead of winning the division and having a home game, do they think, well, now everything changes? Because if they had the home game, it's a little bit easier. They don't have to play as hard of a team. They don't have to have as brutal of a matchup. Is there more pressure on the Seahawks based off of their record and their season compared to where the Eagles are at with all the injuries saying, hey, listen, this is house money? The Eagles have been so good defensively, so good when it comes to stopping the run. And when they only really have Marshawn Lynch because they lose Carson and because they lose Penny and because they lose all their guys, it's even easier for this team. Not that it's going to be the easiest thing in the world, but it's easier compared to when they have those guys. I can't wait. This team thrives when they're underdogs at home. This team is going to play electric due to the fan base. Wilson is good on the road. Carson Wentz has struggled against this Seahawks team. Although, since about week 12 or so, when it comes to Russell Wilson outside of the pocket, he hasn't been as lethal as he has been throughout his career. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, he's been doing really good moving out of the pocket, and we need to continue to see that. I can't wait to see what Miles Sanders has in store. I can't wait to see what Boston Scott can do. I haven't even mentioned Jordan Howard. What's he going to be like? They also signed guys off the streets once again, another running back. And Gibson. Is Gibson going to be a deep threat as a wide receiver? He's got speed. Are they just going to throw him downfield and say, keep on running, keep on going, and see if the Eagles can get some sort of separation on a big play? It's not going to be easy. I'm not saying this is going to be easy at all. But my gut feeling tells me the Eagles will have enough, and it will come down to the defense making plays. Here's the thing. You can look at the Dak Prescott misses when they played the Cowboys. You can look at Daniel Jones missing some throws that would have beat Sidney Jones or Rasul Douglas if they were a little bit ahead of them. That's football. Not every quarterback makes every single throw. The last time the Eagles played the Seahawks, Russell Wilson made mistakes and missed wide open opportunities, one specifically wide open in the end zone. So plays are going to be missed. Carson Wentz will miss some plays deep. You'll have Russell Wilson miss some plays deep. Just because the defense gets beat and you look at the Seahawks and say, well, they missed an opportunity, that's part of the game. That happens every single week. So I think that will happen in this game. You will see Rasul Douglas getting beat and maybe a missed throw or a drop catch or anything. But that's sports. No one's 100%. No one's perfect. So I think that there's holes in this defense, and they're going to have to find a way to stop DK Metcalf's speed, and they're going to have to try and stop Tyler Lockett. And there will be times where maybe they get open. But it comes down to maintaining them. My big worry defensively is they focus so much on the wide receivers because that's where they have the most weapons, Russell Wilson and those wide receivers. My concern is maybe they allow the run game to get going more than they should because they're so focused on those weapons. But if you allow a little here to stop more in the back end, you might have to give some to take some kind of thing. We'll see how Jim Schwartz elects to do this. He had some nice stunts. Brandon Graham with a nice stunt. Some disguises at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. Jim Schwartz has been doing really good. He's going to have to confuse Russell Wilson. That's not an easy task. Russell Wilson is at the top of the league for a reason, but it's not as if Russell Wilson has been playing absolutely phenomenal football through this back stretch. They have lost 3 of 4 for a reason. They have been losing games. They have been backing into the playoffs for a reason. Now, with that being said, it's a one playoff game. Anything can happen. Russell Wilson can become electric in this one and take the game over, but he can also fail. And Carson Wentz can have a great game or he can have a mediocre game, but I think this game comes back to the defense. They are the ones, the defensive players, they are the ones that are going to win this game. It does not take away from this offense and what they need to do. They're going to have to find ways to move the sticks. They're going to have to be effective in that screen game. And I know it's possible to find the running backs against the Seattle Seahawks team. This Eagles team can totally make stuff happen. They can move the ball by throwing to the running backs in the passing game with the screen passes against this team. It's very possible. By the way, I mentioned the defense being the leaders of this one. They can abuse that offensive line. Now, I've said that before this season. Specifically, I've said that about, I believe it was the Washington Redskins and some other teams where the offensive line of the opponent sucked. And the Eagles didn't provide as much rush as I expected them to. In this game, the opportunity is there. The window is there for Vinny Curry, for Brandon Graham, for Fletcher Cox, for Josh Sweat, for Derek Barnett to get Russell Wilson uncomfortable. Now, keep in mind, Russell Wilson, once he feels that pressure, he can run. He can make teams really struggle because he can find ways to get to the outside. He can find ways to pick up that first down. He can utilize his skill set and run for a little bit. If you're going to back everyone up in coverage and take away those wide receivers and you're going to bring pressure and flush Russell Wilson out of the pocket, if he's going to beat some of these guys, he's going to have room to run. Absolutely. But you got to trust these guys to be able to get home. That line for the Seahawks is banged up. There is an opportunity. I'm telling you, the window is right there. Go out and grab it. And the way that the Eagles' defensive line ate against the Giants late in that fourth quarter, if they can ride that momentum, now we're talking. And I bring up the word momentum. The real question is, how legit is the momentum? Is it fake? Is it fake because they beat up on the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys? 3 teams that are firing their head coaches? I see both sides. Yeah, you can't just pretend those opponents are good because they're not. But you can only control what's in front of you when they took care of business. Would you rather them lose? And there is something to be said about confidence. That's what it comes down to. It just comes down to confidence. Seeing the team succeed, seeing guys make plays. Carson Wentz understands the offense a little bit more. He knows if he sees a Rob Davis that he can make a 50-50 ball. He did it, even though it got called back for Vitai's holding. He's seen it happen. He knows that Greg Ward can catch the football in the slot. He knows that Dallas Goedert can do a toe-tapping catch on 3rd and 8 right before the sideline. He has seen this happen. He knows what Miles Sanders can do. He knows what this offensive line can create for Miles Sanders, and I know the right side's going to be tough, but Jason Kelce and that left side will be phenomenal. And speaking of Jason Kelce, he didn't start out perfect this season. I thought actually at some points throughout this season he struggled a little bit, but he has turned it around. He has been electric. He has been just sickening, and I say that in a good way. Fantastic. And with him, Sam Aller, Jason Peters, that left side can totally create some gaps. Now, Vitai's, it's weird. I'm not saying that right side can't, but it's so weird with Vaitai. Some days he's really good, some days he's really bad. We don't really know much of Matt Pryor, and we're all praying that Lane Johnson can go, but if he's not practicing on a Friday, I think there's truly something to be said about that. He is such a warrior. But, I stated this before, this Eagles training staff, this Eagles medical staff, the way the Eagles tell the media things and the fan base things, you flat out never know. You never know what's going to happen. I'm excited. I am pumped up. I can't wait. I have the chills. I'm watching all these pump-up videos. I'm watching highlights from the Dallas game, from the Giants game. I have all the games DVR'd. I'll go back and watch them film. I can't wait to see what it's going to be. I can't wait to see the fan base going crazy on that screen. Sunday, 4:40. There's no other game time I wanted. That's the game time I wanted. And you may ask, Broach, why? Why? And I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do with anything other than I ended up buying my girlfriend a super nice dinner in Philadelphia Saturday night at 5 o'clock, and I did not want it to be on Saturday, and I did not want to miss the game or have to DVR the game or have to cancel dinner. So it has nothing to do with football. It has to do with my personal schedule, and it ended up working out, and I'm pumped. But I digress. The anticipation is real. The goosebumps are real. I'll be honest with you, the anxiety is real. You know me. If you've been following this channel for a while, it's tough for me. Pacing around, getting nervous, sweating, jumping up and down. I haven't had that feeling all season long. I did against the Giants, and when Malcolm Jenkins had that strip play on Daniel Jones and Fletcher Cox got it, I jumped up for joy more than I have all season long. And I'm going to feel the same way for this one. Carson Wentz, here you go. Here you go. You're looking at a big one. You're looking at a big moment. Is it the biggest game of Carson Wentz's career? Unbelievable. Every game at this point is the biggest game of Carson Wentz's career. I just crack up every single time. I'm not saying it is, but I do know that it is a big step for him. It's an awesome experience for the kid. We wanted 16 games, and we wanted a playoff game. That was huge going into the season. I remember talking about it all August long. Well, here it is. And the circumstances might not be what we expected, a 9-win season with 75 practice squad players. But you know what? Football's funny. Life is funny. You never really know what's going to happen. Things get thrown at you. There's a possibility to win this game. It's a real possibility to win this game. The line moved to the Seahawks side. That's okay with me. You know what? I prefer it. I prefer it because for some reason, whether it's the dog mask, whether it's the ski mask season, this team embraces it. And there's something about Doug Peterson and what he provides for this team when it's late, when it's December, when it's January. There's just some magical touch that this guy has to keep everyone on the same page. Hell, even Josh McCown is doing the same thing. The type of leader he is in this locker room. Holy hell, what a difference. You hear this guy speak to the media and you just hear his professionalism when he's talking about what's going on in this locker room and how he's providing positivity to this squad and to the quarterbacks and to Carson Wentz. I want this guy to be on the coaching staff once he retires. I want this guy to come back and be a backup quarterback. I want this guy to stay in the locker room. My prediction, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be high scoring. Eagles 20. I think it's going to be Eagles 20, Seahawks 17. I don't think they're going to be able to score 27 points, 24 points, just touching 20 maybe. But it's going to come down to that defensive front getting pressure, but not allowing Russell Wilson to get going. Have Malcolm Jenkins ready to go up and make a tackle. Have someone prepared for that. It's going to come down to the cornerbacks making plays. Whether it's Avonte Maddox, cre'von LeBlanc, Jalen Mills, Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, you name it. How about the linebacker core? Nigel Bradham? Gary? Comes down to those guys. It comes down to them. They're going to have to be special. They have been special at home. They got to keep that going. They got to keep that trend going. Stop the run and stop these big plays. Don't allow the chunk plays. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.